And if Killer Mike ain't in your top 25 all time, go ahead and throw the list away. Get back to the drawing boards. I think underappreciated is an understatement for Killer Mike. Killer Mike's already had an excellent solo discography, but then he links up with LP Farm's Run the Jewels and goes on one of the most OD 4-album runs I've ever seen, where all 4 of the albums they put out have been album of the year in their respective years. I think Run the Jewels, over the top, outlandish style, both from production and a content standpoint, end up being the perfect showcase of how elite Killer Mike is as a rapper. His flows, lyricism, wit, I think all those aspects are really special, and then he has one of the best deliveries in rap. It'll be interesting to see where he goes with this album, especially with this being the first time we heard a solo project for him in a little bit over a decade. Like I alluded to, Run the Jewels style has really been this over-the-top outlandish violence with a little bit of social commentary sprinkled in. Looks like from the name of this album, then from the album cover, that this is going to be more of a personal project from Killer Mike. But Killer Mike do look like a bad kid on this album cover, so it's still might be outlandish violence. This might be like soundtrack to in-school suspension or something. But he's more than capable of putting out an album of the year contender. Let's see what he do.
Hello, my niggas. Hello, my niggas. Please keep it mellow, my niggas. Stop sipping yellow, my nigga. You itching and twitching and glitching, my nigga. Listen, my God. Niggas ain't gave up on God. Maybe God gave up on us. Maybe she angry we worshiping all these false idols, so devils just praying on us. This for the junkie, the fiend, and the loser. Praying to God in the back of a cruiser.
Bro, it's a lot going on with these opening bars. For one, this cadence is sick. And then is that repetition of the word nigga with the fact that he's using that it sound throughout all the bars. That nigga starting out on 10.
It was just been in my nigga. I am not vicious, my nigga. I had no vision, my nigga. I wanted Gucci and Fendi, my nigga. Gucci Shavici, my nigga. But no, don't understand it. But if she's an addict, this Gucci purse gon' get a key. Thick with her ass. She is a bad as she bad. Pretty.
Y'all hear these keys creeping in under the beat?
She got the face of a model. She got the heart of a solder. She from the gutter, my nigga. Wife and a mother, my nigga. Women and
hey, that's hard. Seems like contradiction or paradox going to be one of the major things of this album, especially based on this album cover with the halo and then the double horns. But the way that he's describing his girl is like basically a typical hood chick, but then he also compared her to Coretta Scott King and Asada Shakur in those lines too. I like that.
Moving like Malcolm and Martin the King. Lift every voice is the soul that I sing. Born in the womb of a beautiful teen.
On everything, you can't tell me Star Spangled Banner is a better song than Lift Every Voice and Sing. Lift Every Voice and Sing is a banger, dog. Star Spangled Banner, oh, say that junk is whack, dog.
Keeping it player, just playing my part. Lean on my demon and posting the paw. Jury on gleaming like rockin' the law. Myrick B is my 9 and the...
Man, this is something that Killer Mike, Andre 3000, Kendrick all masters at, where you have this particular cadence and then you have the rhyme scheme falling at the same part on each bar. He did it earlier with that like nigga rhyme scheme in his opening lines, and now he's doing it with this gleaming rhyme scheme where it's hitting at the same part in the middle of the bar.
All the fellas that handled the raw, fuck all the tellers that ran to the law. What?
Yeah, that's an emphatic opener. The track just oozing Atlanta influence from it all the way down to those just disrespectful 808s. Love the melody too, led by those horns. Threw a few keys in it too. CeeLo had the vocalization at the beginning of the verse too. It feels like those lyrics were painting the scene for this entire album. He opened the song up describing the street life. He described his girl who's a product of Atlanta in the streets as well. Then it was dope seeing the contrast because he was contrasting all these bars by injecting these images of black excellence or these figures of black excellence. Seems like the song as a whole was more of a setup for the rest of the album. Let's get into Shed Tears.
Hey brother, and enemy more than mothers. Just know that your days are numbered and life might be filled with troubles. Your trouble loved her but drug her. Brother and made her suffer. Left her a single mother. No malice since I was younger. Barely filled with that hunger. Barely could help my mama.
That's heavy. The drug and didn't love a line, insinuating an assault, whether he meant that literally or figuratively. And then he moved to the mama rhyme scheme with the way he's playing with that double rhyme scheme back to back in those opening lines. That's tough.
I remember sitting hurt all alone in the church service, asking God to reveal me a plan and a higher purpose.
Right here waiting to give you rest for your soul.
I love the gospel chorus right here and the gospel vocals as Mike raps about like trying to find God and turn into the Lord.
Yes. Trust in me, I will give you rest.
Man, this song was really reminding me of a Kanye song, and the reason why is the drums pretty much sound the exact same as the drums on the song Power by Kanye, and then these vocals are really reminiscent of Ultralight Beam. I like the beat, but it do sound like I heard this beat before.
Granny grabbed a belt and went berserk about her smoke. Get teary-eyed about the moments they was golden. Rainy days approaching, we was sheltered, dude ain't helping. Wish I could hit your cellular without you here, I'm helpless.
Every morning in the bathroom mirror, face to face with fate, had to face my fears.
I love this alliteration right here playing with that face sound.
Lord, I cried, almost died empty inside. The devil whispers in your ear, you contemplate suicide. I tell you, I know.
And that's how the rest of the project going. It's gonna be a really personal album. He really upped the ante with how vulnerable he got. That first verse especially stood out to me. The woman that he was speaking of being taken advantage of sounded like he was speaking about his mom on those lines. And then I love how he used that to compare that to how he struggles with fatherhood. I think his second verse was good as well, but the first one, I think that was the verse of the song. Mozzie had a pretty good verse. I don't think he was as personal as Killer Mike got or as vulnerable as Killer Mike got, but I do like his rhyme schemes, his flow, and I like how he detailed that relationship with his grandmother shedding a tear over her death. The beat sounds like something I've heard before, but I still like it. The drum pattern of that beat makes the song sound really triumphant, and then the gospel vocals make everything sound really uplifting. So it gives a nice contrast to the kind of depressing bars that we're getting from Killer Mike. I'm rocking with how this is sounding sonically. I'm rocking with what we're getting lyrically. This is rhyme with Thugger Free on Thug.
We got your back like the motherfucking Verizon, man.
Nah, don't compare nothing to the Verizon, man. That nigga is the ops. Like, that nigga went to Sprint after all them years. I ain't never seen no switch up like that. No loyalty.
The west side of Atlanta, yeah, that's where I'm from. Outside, our hands on like a glove.
That doesn't rhyme.
Moving like my nigga Nrich, eating on the run. Still an underground king, and that's where you bun.
Hey, Killer Mike, I'm gonna need something a little more than this. I know it's free YSL, but you ain't gotta rap like you YSL. This is basic. We done heard that Bun B line before, too.
This for the one that never won. Hurt feeling going on. Beat the heart like a drum. Run, better run.
Come on, man. That's a lot of basic bars.
But we ain't thinking the same. This PJ, we're not on the same plane. Yeah. Clock in. Yellow diamonds like the sun. And I keep it one-on-one. We gaining weight like Big Pun. Run, nigga, run. Installing this shit in my son. Run, nigga, run.
I ain't heard not one good bar.
Interior line. Run, nigga, run.
Hey, some songs you just gotta let down the hard drive. This was one of them. This song was not it. I think the beat was decent. The horn sound good. The issue for me, the drums sounded good, but they also sounded generic. Like, I like how they sounded, but the pattern is just a typical drum pattern on a trap song, and I'm a fan of trap rap. Killer Mike is way above this. If this was an RTJ album, LP would have never let this fly. He had a stop-start flow that goes good with most trap songs, but his was super watered down. Basic, hop-on, pop Dr. Seuss rhyme schemes. A lot of one-syllable rapping there. No bars. And then Young Thug had a verse that made me just think he need to focus on his case right now. This was a throwaway, man. Young Thug, he's not the most lyrical, but he can normally flash a lot of creative flows, creative vocal inflections. He's witty and got a good sense of humor. None of that was on display here. Nigga mentioned like 10 times that he was on the PJ. Throwaway verse from both, throwaway chorus, throwaway song. This is Nrich.
Rolling with my nigga, rich niggas, these is my nigga roll. Jesus was a nigga, my nigga killed him, my nigga roll. I know you love me running the jewels, but these my nigga flow. Love him like a dumb spit, can't love that nigga hole.
Hey, the nigga motif is hard.
That's the movies niggas should watch. Fuck Scarface and Blow. Still talking New Jack City, that's why you niggas pose. I opened Greenwood and showed niggas that we is more than sticking green under the beams and mamas wouldn't flow.
Green,
and I know
wordplay
secrets
aspire.
that Negro leaders will never know. I was in cahoots with the spooks that sat by master's door. When the revolution let loose, they cut master's throat.
Black like my skin, whoa. Black like a Benz, whoa. Black like my friends, you see black in the end, whoa. Don't parlay with ops, but I can if you can, folk. Got it like a syndrome, nothing rich is my skin tone.
I like that rich is my skin tone line playing to the name of the song, Nigga Rich.
I'ma put on the gloves.
Let me state it, I real estate it when others hate it. Born at Grady, a bastard
real
baby
estate
and a
line's
single
tough.
lady. Fuck living average, I had to go savage to get lavish.
I like that savage average rhyme scheme right there.
My jewelry flashing, my shirts is
The
garish.
smooth
I'm dripping
internal
ashes on finest fabrics while in the back of a German carriage.
Okay, we back on track. I ain't panicked with that last song. To keep with the gospel thing, you know, we fall down, but we get up. He got up on this track. For one, that beat was tough. The watery piano sounded great. I love the punchy drums and the drum pattern. Once once again, the first verse on here was the standout verse. The nigga motif in that opening line was hard. I think that was a really unique, creative way to paint that struggle between like black people in our relationship with money and our relationship with getting rich. A lot of those bars had this toxic undertone to it. And you know, it was deeper than when you typically hear about the relationship between like slavery to chasing money, we used to be in chains and now we wearing chains. Thankfully, he ain't spit no bars like this. I thought it was a real unique take. Black, whose name spelled like 6 lakh. Lyrically, there was another special with his verse, but I think his vocal performance was good. And then the third verse from Killer Mike, content-wise, I don't think it was as deep as the first verse, but I think the flows that he got into, the rhyme scenes he got into were really special. This is talking that ish. That's what's been happening on this album outside of the song Run.
Niggas talk to me about that woke ass shit. Yeah. Same niggas walking on some broke ass shit. You see your words ain't worth no money, I ain't spoke back, bitch. All of you niggas hang together on some broke back shit. Really get up, DJ Paul went to Memphis and shit. Pause. Rest in peace, the Lord infamous, bitch. All that chatter, that you chatter about my matter, just don't matter. I don't forth and backer. I clacker, batter. Could be blaster, slap your seafood. I'm rich rolling, true blue regal. I keep a stick, don't take shit, and that 223 is lethal.
It is lethal. Let's go.
Black Boule hate me. I'm too cool, AC. I don't give a fuck if we getting legal if none of my niggas ain't free.
Let's go.
I don't give a fuck who the president is if the president ain't for me.
Hey, that's always sick. I think it started just a tad bit slow with Mike's opening flow and his opening bars. I think it was definitely better than his flow and bars on the song Run, but it wasn't the most lyrical. I did like that woozy opening synth. Then as soon as we heard that first beat change, it sounded like he was a member of 3 6 Mafia. That sounded like a flow that Juicy J would get into. I rock with that flow. And then the last beat, that chopped and screwed beat, disgusting. That'll make a lean addict relapse. That was tough. Not the most lyrical song, but I love the production, love the flows. That one gonna go stupid in the car. This is Slummer. Oh, I love this sample. I don't know the name of the sample. I think it's a gospel sample, but I heard it before, I think a couple of times. But the one that's most notable to me is Uncle John used it on his song Final Destination on this album, As a Man Thinketh. He flipped a little different here with the drums, but it's a dope sample.
I ain't a pastor, you bastards. I keep a black pistol. Chubby young jit talk slick, rolling like roly poly. At 15, my girlfriend was thick, and she would slowly blow me. She was fine. I was in my feelings, I was out my mind. It's that teenage love, making love no glove. It's that but the last time that we made love on the mama's sofa. Told me she was pregnant by this older nigga and it's over.
That was a verse. The opening flow was sick. The storytelling was sick. That was tough.
A couple summers and our teenage love had turned to something slummer. I can't love her like I used to. She's somebody's baby mama. But she slowly stroke her body. I would try to pick her mind.
Just curious, is she still pregnant at this time?
I remember you called and said, Michael, I am pregnant. I responded, baby girl, a baby girl might be a blessing. And I ain't Usher, baby, but this here is my confession. I must own it. I didn't want it. Even now I know I'm flexing. Cause I've been on your time when your mommy asked for money. Told me your procedure's Monday and she gon' need like 400. And had I known your mother wasn't gon' never let you keep it, I wouldn't have told my partners, would have kept that news a secret.
Dog, just a sick song. I think this is my favorite song on the album so far. I think every single aspect about that song was perfect. Song was only 4.5 minutes, but it felt like a ballad. It felt like a 10-minute track with how much ground they covered. I love the production and how they use every single part of this sample. I don't know how much they had to pay to get it clear, but they got their money's worth. The beat was dynamic, and not just the sample, the parts of the sample change that they were using, but the drums changed as well, and then they dropped the drums out completely. The piano on the outro was sick. I love all the vivid details Killer Mike got into with that first fling where she got pregnant by the other dude, and then he talked about how that girl got an abortion, and then he fast forward to the point where the girl he was messing with and his baby, and they aborted that baby. How he spoke on it was heavy, and then I like the touch of how he just left you to sit in that emotion where he mentioned getting the abortion and he wasn't expecting it, and then the song just cuts out and you left with the keys. Phenomenal song, one of the better songs of the year too. This is Scientists and Engineers with 3 Stacks. Hey, soundscape wise, we getting a lot. We got the gospel, we got the trap now, these electronic sounding synths.
Communication coming in. Too much that I can't communicate with all of them. I do wish I had scientists or engineer friends. Let's go. Get out of here, petrol is cheaper than it's ever been. And then...
Man, this is what I was talking about when I was mentioning what makes Killer Mike and Andre 3000 and Kendrick uses it too with their flow special. But dog, don't nobody do it like Andre, man. With his cadence, he's really good at using meter, where you're not only emphasizing a particular rhyme, which he's definitely doing. He's using that U sound, the same part of every bar, but he's also emphasizing the syllables, where each syllable that gets emphasized lines up with each line. That's extremely hard to do, and it's what made Andre Andre.
Operator, I would pray that you connect me to a sip of sangria, Zambia, camera, cameo, hand me a handful of hits. A stamina, stampede of happy happenings, dabbling into a bliff. Beyond neon, beyond the ambience, be honest, you promise that you will live.
What he's doing with the internal rhyme ain't normal, dog. He's taking whatever he's using as the internal, and he's pretty much filling up the entire bar with a rhyme scheme. That is disgusting.
Summers ever forget.
On top of the cadence.
You jump on and hit a split. Hookers don't really do shit. You get lynching in it, bitch. Rebelling is like an itch. Oh,
I can shake like a teardrop. I got the streets in the head.
They should let him
fly,
go.
Just like a skydiver. Spill, I can get manslaughter. So I think took a gamble. Trying to avoid cameras, break my heart. Trying to avoid cameras. I keep shit locked. Chanel vintage till the finish.
Hey, that's a solid verse.
Music computers.
You would think Future being on the song with Andre and Killer Mike, it would be like, which one of these is not like the other? But instead of trying to be super lyrical, Future did what he did best. Smooth melodic flow, nice descriptive luxury talk. He didn't try to get too introspective. That was solid. It ain't no verse of the year contender, but he did what he needed to do.
Looters and looters with shooters and shooters with brokers and shooters with Ruger. CDs with my tutors, and my tutors taught me a terrible miracle. You can lie, cheat, and still kill
Bruh. He's spazzing.
And niggas get rich and go bitch and go fed and go stitching and fuck up their family and friends. Me, I go to Germany, earn me a couple of million, return with a couple of bins. Or go to Brazil, so I had to show him like Percy with me, it just can't be no limit. 100% minutes that's moving on vengeance. I promise my op that my anger is endless. It ain't enough.
He's been using this alliteration for like the past 8-10 bars.
Kicking that jazz, collecting my bag. I'm talking millet, ain't talking vanilla.
Man, that's another amazing song. On top of just getting a wide variety of different soundscapes with this album, these last two songs have been really dynamic, with the beat never settling in one place. You get the parts of the song with those EDM like Sims, you get the guitars, part of the song without drums, part of the song with drums, and then every passage and every modulation sounded right. And then on top of that, the whole album still feels succinct. I really love all three performances. Andre 3000's verse was incredible. On top of the flows and cadence I got into, it really sounded like he was talking about like wanting to get away from his circumstance, and maybe he was alluding to like fame. And then as he talks about getting away, the way he gets away is he starts reminiscing on his childhood. Probably would have been a verse of the year contender. They would have let him go a little bit longer, and matter of fact, it still might be even at his length. And then Future, who I didn't expect too much from, I thought he was just gonna do a chorus and be out. He had a pretty good verse, nowhere near the lyricism of an Andre or a Killer Mike, but he played his part. And then Killer Mike's flows, his best flows of the album. And when I say flow, go ahead and throw rhyme scheme in there too, but I love how he opened the verse with that shooter rapid fire rhyme scheme, and then he played with that alliteration from start to finish. And then even though the song sounded cohesive, it sounded like all three were touching on slightly different topics. Future, the luxury, Andre kind of reminiscent, and then Killer Mike playing more into these themes about critiquing America and this social commentary. Stellar song. This is 2 Days with Ty Dolla $igns.
Can I stop it, pocket profit every time I push a pen? But I do not push a pen. Fuck a pen and the pen that imprison all my kin. And my partners and my friends. Fuck the politicians that sponsor the prisons that they in. I got pen that sell no marijuana, law won't let them in. Man, them crackers let a nigga out, but will not let us in. Thought that I go hard and that's as hard as MC Ren. I don't need a reverend, I will not show reverence. Auntie slid like Sunday school, I'm as clean as my Sunday suit. Pastor play you for fool, me I just keep it cool.
maybe 2 days wasn't enough time for him to do this one. Maybe he needed 4 days, a week, 2 weeks. I wasn't really vibing with that one that much. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't on par with the good songs on this album. The guitar sample was cool. I don't really think it fit the vocal sample that well. It didn't mesh as nicely as like the last 2 songs meshed with their variety of different sounds. Understated drums were fine, but you got some explosive drums throughout this album. They weren't here. Decent verse from Killer Mike. It was only decent, which is another reason why I wasn't really feeling this song that much. He got more into that social commentary and got more into those religious themes, but I think it was really surface level on this song, and then the flows were not bad, but they weren't really intricate. He did have some intricate internal rhyming at certain points on the album, but it wasn't as creative as like his flows on Scientists and Engineers. Ty Dolla $ign seemed like he just wanted to slap a feature on there. He didn't really serve a huge purpose. This is Spaceship Views with Currency and 2 Chainz.
The Corvette roof evaporated. Push the button, it regenerated. Stupid.
Hey, I like that imagery. The roof evaporated. That's my first time hearing that. Then it regenerated. That's pretty tough.
I put your bitch on the wave runner. I was on the yacht deck waving from it. I bought these folks in London. I bought this hoodie on Fairfax. I'm all
Did me dirty when I fell off, but I ain't write no tell-all. My book giving you gang, nigga. I ain't gotta write about lame niggas. And if you love that lame nigga, I'm still talking about the same nigga. What you know about college educated and still had to sell cocaine, nigga? What you know about before?
A pharmacy degree, if you will.
Niggas wanna move like rap niggas. Me, I wanna move like Rob Smith. Fuck that rap and trap shit. I'm a landlord, bitch, pay rent.
6 in your bucket, Mike got a 96 Impala. Don't think I won't murk you. Be out by the time my son hit college. Call cats making donuts, say them boys singing like Revival. Pulled out the peace sign, him hit her with the D and bought a designer. Hammer with my best friend. Turkey bag my best friend. Dirty scale my best friend. Rubber band my best friend.
I think that song was cool. It had stuff I liked. It had stuff I didn't like. I do like that modulation a lot. I thought the beat started out pretty good, but then the song just exploded into something maximal with the keys. You had organs, you had vocals. Another song where there was a change with the drums. I think if you average out these 3 verses, it's in the bottom third as far as lyrical performances on this album. Currency had a fire opening line, but after that, it was okay, decent rapping. I think he flashed 1 4-syllable rhyme scheme, but other than that, if you heard one Currency brag, you heard most of them. That verse wasn't that special. Killer Mike, I haven't been a huge fan of his last 2 verses. Him on autopilot is good, but good for him is underachieving. Decent rhyme scheme, decent flows, but I still prefer the depth that I heard in a lot of these songs to these more surface level verses that he had on the last 2 songs. 2 Chainz had the best verse here, I think. His content was pretty surface level brags too, but I thought he had a really charismatic delivery, which is really his biggest strength. Pretty good flow, decent rhyme schemes, but I did think he had the best verse on this song. This is Exit 9.
With my 69, 5 bird from the curb. I done had to work it like a square and had to serve. I'm listening to Big and Dre and crumbling on herb. I'm pushing down MLK with a quarter pound of herb. Passing through the tallest, drinking flawless, living lawless. Today shift in the flame, diamond flawless, and I flawless.
I like
Thank
this
the Lord,
rhyme
I ain't a junkie, ain't an alcoholic.
First
the
verse
pride
like
of
the
Atlanta,
minute.
Michael Render studied ballin'.
Let's bring out the Sherry lane. Ain't no feeling the same. Hope you're feeling my pain. I put my blood,
That's one of the
sweat, and
better
tears in the
choruses.
game. Ain't no feeling the same. Hope you're feeling my pain.
I remember hurdles into my Chevy converter. Swerve around them haters that don't wish to see me further. My campaign for champagne could've ended with my murder. Miss Betty say if you ain't saved in Jesus' name is worse.
Hey, I hope this nigga ain't pulling no bait and switch. It seemed like we was getting a real personal album. And bro said, I had an abortion and we ain't heard nothing personal since. That's another aight song. It's for sure been a quality fall off since Scientists and Engineers. It ain't no nosedive, but it's like a prepare for landing type. Decent beat. I think the strings and the keys made a smooth sounding melody. It wasn't super interesting though. It sounded like something you would hear from a popular R&B artist. Certainly not as dynamic as some of the beats that we got here. Not as energetic as some of the beats we got here. And then Killer Mike, once again, we're missing some of those really intricate flows and cadences compounded with what we're getting from him in comparison to a song like Slummer is really surface level. I mean, the nigga's riding around 285. I guess that's personal, but what else, nigga? Like, I can make a song about the traffic on 285 and get more personal than that. I did like that chorus from Blast though. I thought it was gonna be a case like Ty Dolla $ign where you just slap a feature on there, but I thought he sounded really good vocally and that was a well-written chorus. So it was some takeaways from the song, but I don't love it like I love a lot of songs in the first half. This is something for junkies with Fabo.
Something for the addicts, something for the users,
some for the junkies and the substance abusers, some for the car washers, some for the shade tree, some for my Uncle Jeff, he died and they paid me.
Here we go.
For Kid Monsters, this is for junkies. When Ready Run did the DMX, did somebody do to you? Hey, this is for the J's working hard to get paid. Pay them fair wage and do not treat your people like slaves.
Hey, you know how the movie industry, they went on that writer strike? Imagine if Junkies went on strike and all of a sudden you ain't getting niggas helping you backing into parking spots or niggas washing your windshield anymore.
Had a quick convo with my auntie the junkie. I tell her, baby, you been going too hard lately. See, you like 60, baby, but you been looking 80. She said, shit, Michael, I've been smoking since 80, before the shooters. Back when we still called it freebasing. A damn movie, she says, puffin' a damn lucid. Trigger warning, the next moment she took a hit. She zoned out, came back, took a spin.
Hey, that's the first time I heard a trigger warning in a rap song.
She said, Michael, you say you love me, I know you mean it. Cause you still treat your junkie auntie like a human being.
Something for the junkies and users.
I think that song started out a little bit slow, but I think where it left off was really dope. I say, just like I said about the last couple songs, this beat isn't as dynamic as some of the other beats on here, but I think it served a purpose on here, and I don't mind it on this song. The stripped back keys and the organs gave the song a personal feel, which I didn't really love it on the first verse because I thought the flows were a little bit basic, and the Junkie Lives Matter pitch wasn't really doing it for me. But when he got more personal on the second verse, which when Mike has been personal on this album, that's when he shined the most and talked about the conversation between his auntie. I thought that vulnerability was dope. I also thought the rhyme schemes picked up a little bit on that second verse as well. Killer Mike put his money where his mouth is by giving Fabo a feature. I think Fabo recovered, right? I don't know. I don't keep up with it, but I have no justification as to why I like Fabo's vocals so much, but I do. I think it's part nostalgia and part the over-the-top performance. I think that's been the best song in the second half of this album. This is Motherless.
My mama dead, my grandmama dead. To keep it honest, I get depressed and be feeling scared. You see, I won't prepare, and never will be. To think about your destiny, sometimes it kill me. A black boy born to a teen mama gets regarded as a leader by his people, mama. My mama dead, her mama dead. Her mama died in my arms, mama said it wasn't fair. Her mama raised, I told her she crazy. She told me one day I'm gonna be gone, Michael, you gon' see. Like a hole in my heart, and I wanna call the Lord, but I don't know where to start.
I like that line.
You used to cry for me.
I got an altar in my home to honor both of them. Just this morning I was spoke to both of them. I asked Betty for her prayers over my generation, and I asked Niece to keep me through my trials and tribulations.
Man, my mama dead, my grandma dead. Goodness, that refrain is chilling. Every single time you repeated it, it felt ice cold. I'm rocking with that one. I feel real similar about that song as I feel about Something for the Junkies, but I like how this was even more personal. Once again, you're not getting those grand beats that we witnessed on the first half of the album, but I think the stripped back drums and then those keys and pretty good bass line too gave the song this intimate and personal feel. And then I like when the organs crept in, it made the song feel as if it was like a eulogy. And then Erin Allen Kane, I think this was her best performance on the album. Those inflections gave me vibes of like late 90s, early 2000s gospel songs, like them Mary Mary type vocals. My non-heathens know about that. And then with Killer Mike's verse, this wasn't the most lyrically dense song, but what we did get was constant tension. He starts with that refrain which starts the tension, and then it builds up and he starts talking about his mom in general and their relationship, and then he talked more and more directly about his grandma's death, his mom's death, and then his struggles dealing with it. Very lethargic song, super heavy content-wise. I rock with that one. This is Don't Let the Devil.
The jewel runners, the product of many cruel summers. And the description was fitting, they say it's two gunners. Slap chickpeas out your cheek until you true hummers.
That's tough. That's tough. Hey, LP a bad influence. He get on the track and Killer Mike start acting uncouth.
Can't scream cause we don't do Hondas, but we do Benny Hondas, taking your baby mamas.
Benny Hondas is overrated, dawg. Don't go there.
Watch the world go to hell as I'm laughing, saying it's perfect. Catch me after Sunday services, serving the church's workers. Tell the deacon we ain't speaking.
This serving back-to-back rhyme scheme is crazy.
His prayer's worthless. I can tell through my alertness he's nervous about his purchase. Hey,
better meet me, ate a can spraying a greedy. You should have brought the Uzi. Oopsie, I'm a doozy. How you moving?
moving. 1 or 2 in, super grouping. Gorilla glued up to the cash, couldn't lose it.
Dog, almost every single syllable is part of this moving rhyme scheme. Either that or he's using that ooh sound as alliteration.
Brooklyn, Lord bless us. Snipers at the nexus. Lifers come and check us, we next. They don't goddamn the game and ain't fair. Thoughts and prayers. Shut the fuck up, put your hands in the air. Run the jewels.
Look, man, that's why they got 4 albums and 4 albums of the year. I think this is the best song in the second half of the album. 2 fire verses from both guys. Both Killer Mike and LP had similar flows, and they attacked their verses the same. Mike's verse was a tad bit more personal than LP's, but he still had that over-the-top violence flashed all through the verse. The smack the chickpeas out your mouth till you drool hum his line being his best bar, I think. LP's verse was pretty much all violence, and then to end it with the thoughts and prayers line, I thought I was sick. Disgusting manipulation of syllables with his alliterations and rhyme schemes. LP had these niggas rapping over a Django type beat. The vocal sample felt like it was out of a Western. And then those drums sounded really unorthodox too. The pacing and the sound of it remind me of like when Spurs click, Spurs on like the cowboy boots, which is another reason why it had a Western feel to me. This wasn't the best LP beat I've ever heard, but I do think it was creative and unique. Let's close this thing out with High and Holy.
We carry rifles, granted carry Bibles. We carry hatred for our rivals. Same as Cain and Abel. So disgraceful. I stay prayed and faithful.
I like
I
this star
apologize if I've ever spoke distasteful. Words and
woke up at the heavens, count my blessings, trying to find atonement. My life's a testimony.
I like this harmonization. It sounds super lush in the headphones.
That's why I stay high and holy.
Been right with God, cause the devil lurking. Lay your worries down. Give God all your burdens. My brothers in the fire, and to save them's my desire. Our ambitions often co-conspire to go higher. God bless those that confess, and God damn the liars. Quote it like I wrote it, Michael, father of Anaya.
I think that was a strong closer. It was fitting that song really embodied the gospel themes that were present for most of this album. The keys, bass line, organ, even the vocalization all sounded like it was straight from Sunday Morning. I think the 2 verses from Mike tied a nice bow on the album. He spent a lot of time with different synopses of both his psyche and the environment around him and a lot of things that went wrong. I like the fact that his verse came off as preachy, but it was intentional. And then the contract of him being like this preacher is the chorus saying he's staying high and holy, with high being a double meaning for like high, like righteous, and then high, of course, under the influence. I like the first verse a tad bit better than the second verse, but I like how the second verse ended. Wasn't the best song on the album, but it was really solid. And overall, I think this was a good album. It definitely left some meat on the bone though. Sonically, I think this is a really ambitious album. Matter of fact, I think this album was at its absolute best when it was most ambitious, when we got the loud blaring drums, the fusions between gospel, rap, even on Scientists and Engineers, you got a little bit of EDM. On the first half of the album, you were getting all these modulations. On the second half of the beat, we got what I thought probably should have been a little bit more personal cuts. It finally did get personal when we got into like Something for Junkies and Motherless. To match that, the beat were stripped down, the drums weren't as in your face, and it worked on the songs that were really personal. But then other songs like 2 Days and Spaceship Views, the song came off a little dull, especially compared to what we got in the first half. And you had social commentary, but we heard a lot deeper both on this album than from Killer Mike in general. But that said, you got some straight up bangers on here. The opening track, Nrich talking that ish, and then when he combined those really ambitious beats with personal verses where he still got into his intricate flows and deliveries, like on the song Slummer and Scientists and Engineers, those turned out to be some of the best songs of the year. I think if you take off Run, which is a dud, and remove a couple of these tracks like 2 Days and Spaceship Views that didn't cover a lot of ground, I think this probably would have been an album of the year contender. So as a cohesive listening experience, you have a fire start to the album, a lull in the middle, and a pretty strong ending. Could have been condensed to something even more special, but as it is, I think this is a really solid contribution to Killer Mike's already excellent discography and a pretty dope listen.